little attempt, a little contribution to our customers, to our partners and friends like yourself in their personal well-being. And that is the time when we thought of starting a series called Securing Wellness, which is nothing about technology, nothing about product, nothing about the bad economy that we deal in, day out, but it's all about you and your well-being. And this is not something that we're doing it alone. We have roped in industry expert. And that is where I would want to introduce Payal Mahapatra, who's a wellness coach based out of Singapore, and Abhijit Singh, who's a fitness trainer from Mumbai, who's into training of many cricketers here, right? Who will share their views and talk about and demonstrate a couple of things which might help you in creating what I call is your own personal BCP plan. The idea here is truly not to be a sage at the center stage, but to be a guide by your side. With that, let me hand over to Jagdish, who will share his views about these tough times and what, as CrowdStrike, we are doing to help our customers. Jagdish, over to you.
Thank you, Nitin, and a very warm welcome to all of you for taking your time out. Appreciate that. Also, a special thanks to Klub, Chennai, for really partnering with us in this pursuit, in this effort. So this is a mail that I got about 2-3 weeks back, just around when the lockdown started. And this is from my health provider. And as you can read, it talks about virtual clinic being available. On the tap, a doctor can be made available if you have an emergency or any need. And when I look at the crisis around this pandemic that we are all going through, it does two fundamental things to me. Firstly, it changes the way we live our life, go to live our life, or we have conducted our business, but it also exposes how we have been living in the past. So that's a nice segue to what I really want to spend some time in talking about, the concept of weightless world. When I say weightless world, it basically means how, as you and I move into future, a bulk of economic transactions are going to happen on the digital format, much like what you've seen in the music industry. Gone are the CDs and DVDs. It's digital format. Look at education today. It's the whole world. The kids around, the students are on online platform. Maybe, as Nitin was alluding to, this will be the new norm for all businesses. But as we move to this new weightless world, as all of you, all the CIOs, CISOs here on the call will be impacted, it will impact your and our business models, business architecture, and also the security architecture. So let's spend some time to really understand how does it open out for us. I just want to go back and reflect on this date, 17th November 2019.
You need to share the screen, Jagdish.
My apologies for that. Just put that up. November 2019. This was the date on which the first detection of COVID-19 happened in Wuhan, in China, right? All of you remember that, more or less around that. Today, what we are going through in India is what was happening in China, possibly 4 months back. Today, Chinese economy seems to be coming back on track. They seem to have got the detections in control, and they seem to be moving forward. And we seem to be really in the process of dealing with it, and hopefully sooner than later, we will come out of it. And this takes me to this interesting thought by William Gibson. And some of you should know who William Gibson is. He's the fiction writer who came with the term called cyberspace. So let's not forget, we use that pretty loosely today. He's the one who actually coined it. And he says, the future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed. So what we are seeing in India today happened in China 3 or 4 months back. And hopefully a few months from now, we should be out of it. But it's already happening in different ways and different intensity in the world. Well, a favorite brand for many right now We're using Zoom to connect, have all of you to share and listen to us. And it's got its own plus and minuses, and Zoom is going through its own journey. But clearly, today, if you look at how Zoom has completely jumped ahead of all the US airlines market cap in about few weeks. Just to give you a data point, we are talking about 1 million to 2 million active users per day in the month of January to about 200 million active users every day. And that's what one inflection point can do to businesses. It could change and destroy the market leaders and create new ones. So we could be living in a world where teleporting will usurp transporting. We could be looking at that. We're going to talk about a little bit around on the challenges of Zoom platform as you're seeing some of the security guidelines. So I'm going to share a little bit about that as we move forward. But as I was saying, in the waitlist world, as the business model is going to change forever and also expose some of the chinks in our armor in the past, what are the 4 key drivers we got to remember? We could be the only last generation that will see the difference between online and offline world. It's going to obliterate. The distinction between physical and virtual is going away. The agility, some of the CIOs and the CTOs have been talking about business agility. I think that's going to go a few notches above. The cloud is going to be a catalyst to invert the online and offline world. The boundaries are going away. As we are seeing here, we're hardly in our enterprise network, and we're not likely to be in near time. And basically, fundamentally, the businesses will have to plan for pandemics in future. COVID-19 may go away sooner than later, but you got to be ready about that, right? If that's what we are staring at, how ready is our architecture for next pandemic? And let's dig a little deeper into what does it mean. Today, most of your employees, and in fact, bulk of your employees are working from home or remote. And I thought I'd just bring up a few areas that's challenging us as we are struggling for our business continuity, business availability for our customers, making sure that they can access our services. Security is going through its own set of challenges. But 4 key areas that's coming out: reliance on appliances-based services, whether it is business apps or security, is going to be hard to maintain, whether it is about the maintenance of the hardware or it's about the updates on the software. So the legacy-based approach is going away. The visibility that you desire today, working from remote, is massively impacted. So we have to look at agile platforms, maybe cloud, to really give us that holistic visibility when it comes to our business apps and security. So in CrowdStrike, we've always believed, and this is kind of really becoming even more obvious now, that it doesn't matter whether you're in your office, you're on a plane. It's a distinct dream right now. You're in a remote location, you're working at home. We fundamentally have to rely on a cloud native architecture to secure us. It has to follow the business. And it has to rely on a technology that's not heavy in computing, on using the compute power on our laptop or the devices. So you got to have a process, a technology that doesn't put any load on you when you migrate. Today, if you were to move more and more users on a secure platform, using cloud native architecture makes it on the fly. It's got to be easy for you to manage, right? You can't depend on heavy files or software is being pushed to them. It's pretty hard. And of course, you got to have that uniform security across all your employees. We believe it's even more imperative today to rely on a cloud native architecture and a Lightfoot agent, which doesn't look at heavy signature updates, which has been the norm in the past. Remember what I said? A crisis exposes how we've been living in the past. And I will really keep going back to what it means in a business environment as well. While we prepare, are we getting our businesses in place? I know you guys are struggling a lot and you're working hard 24/7, and you got to make sure your assets are secure. It's important. that we know who are we dealing with. See, these are very vulnerable moments, whether it's our family, our near or dear ones, our parents who may not be staying with us far off. We are extremely vulnerable. There are moments where we feel like we need that emotional support. Mark my words here. As we track 130 plus cyber adversaries in the world, one theme is coming out very well. They are out to grab our vulnerabilities. The attacks on the enterprises, on the banks, on medium, small and medium businesses have enhanced 10 times. And it's coming out from all kinds of actors, nation state actors. We're seeing enhanced attacks from North Korean attackers, cyber criminals. We got to watch out for that, because end of the day, we are protecting our family, our employees from these attackers. We got to know what they are up to, what do they want. One of the easiest, the softest attack vector is phishing. This is an example. In the first few weeks of the pandemic, World Health Organization portal was spoofed. And that really caught a lot of people off guard, because everyone was looking for the WHO guideline, and WHO was compromised here. I mean, their website was spoofed. So this is an example we got to be careful about how your websites, how our company portals can be misused in this vulnerable moment for your customers. So watch out for that. Specifically in India, we've seen in last 3 months enhanced attacks. In 3 weeks, even more. You can see and read a few of them. I have personally been called out by many customers who've been affected by ransomware. Now it's an easy trap, because here is what's happening. The default antivirus protection on your devices of your employees is relying on a set of signatures. And the signature update today isn't possible because they're heavy signatures and they're working from home. And the cyber criminals obviously know that. They are looking at that vulnerability and using ransomware at a very enhanced level, very sophisticated ones, massively impacted. So watch out for that one. And of course, phishing will continue to be a soft target, soft method of capturing our employees who are working from home. So do keep an eye on that one. We are coming out with almost daily alerts on Intel on this side, intelligence reports. Please reach out to Nitin and the India team to really have more information on this. We'll be glad to do a little bit more readout for you. As you know, and any infection, viral, needs a vaccine finally to be in control, but we can't wait for a vaccine here. And when it comes to our near and dear ones, we want to make sure that we take precautions. Isn't that what we are doing? Making sure that we're doing the social distancing, making sure that we're following the guidelines coming from our corporators, from government. The same is true about IT. We can't wait for a silver bullet solution to the problem. We've got to look at how we create an architecture that helps us to be secure and make sure that our employees are also aware to take care of some basics, right? So what are those basics? Firstly, I want to really request and implore the CIOs and CISOs here that please get out of a reliance on signatures. That's not going to work. Not today, not in future. And that exposes how vulnerable we have been in the past, relying on just signatures. Look at a signatureless approach. Look at how machine learning and behavior analytics can help. We've been saying that for the last 8 years, and we believe it's even more important now. But while we do that, rely on cloud native architecture. Now, if you look at today, there are countries trying to fight it in different ways. And I see sometimes reports about which country is doing better. I personally believe it's tasteless to really have a country ranking about who is doing better, because every country has a different context, a different population density, and it's unfair to compare about who is doing better here. What's very clear is who we are fighting right now with COVID-19 is a common enemy, and all the countries are better together. We call it as collective immunity, right? In CrowdStrike, we've always been saying that our immunity when it comes to cyber has to be a collective immunity. So we do cloud native to really correlate all the threats. We process about almost 3 trillion events a week. That's like 2 times of annual Twitter data. Provide that machine learning to all our customers on the fly. Now that's what is required today on and moving forward. And then of course, our experts behind the cloud make sure that we look at those finer elements which might miss out on machine learning. So this is about human and machine teaming, keeping our customers secure, right? That's what we think is the architecture for now and for future. And that's the change we go about doing it. As Nitin was saying, we have to take care of our community, our family. We're going to make sure we take care of our employees here. In CrowdStrike, we want to make sure that, I want to be very clear that we care for you. We got a few things that we're trying to do for our existing customers. We got a few programs for till May 16th. We've opened out our licensing policy for a burst. It's a 10% plus burst. You can go ahead and do that absolutely free of cost pro bono. And for our customers where some of their employees have home devices which are not covered under corporate policy, we've also offered Falcon, which is our flagship brand, Falcon for Home. And that's available again for our customers free of cost. For customers who are not, some of you who are not using CrowdStrike, I would request you to reach out to my team in India. We can help you set up proof of concept on a pretty quick basis. We can expand that to make sure that your home users, people working from home, are covered under the corporate policy, and then we can see how we can help you really cover your risk out there. So feel free to reach out to us, because at this point in time, what we are looking here is to not just have a commercial conversation. What I want to make sure that my team here is reaching out to for any help, because we all need to be collectively immune to this, and feel free to reach out and ask for any help. We'll be very glad to really start that off for you. Very, very important that we are here collectively working as a community. I thought I'll pick up a few recommendations in these times. It's got to be very important. First and foremost, please focus on securing your endpoints. As I said, ransomware, sophisticated ones, phishing, all these are going to come from the laptops and workstations that your employees are using to connect into your corporate network. Be careful about that. You can't depend on signatures there. That's going to keep you exposed. Leverage AI, behavior analytics to predict and address new threats. We can help you there, and we're happy to really go through that journey with you. Cloud native platform. That is the only way you'll scale on the fly, you'll be flexible, and you can be agile. And agility today has a very different definition. To be very defensive on our posture right now, got to make sure that all your remote services, the VPNs, the multi-factor authentication are patched dynamically, because that's a risk that you run. But make sure that your employees are fully aware about how to detect if there is a threat and how they can escalate and reach out to you, because that's very important that you keep your employees well aware about what they should do and what they shouldn't, even more. And I know that we're all leveraging video as we're using Zoom here. I thought I'll bring up a few things pretty hot right now. Well, first of all, Zoom has made it very clear. There are only two domains that you got to depend on: zoom.us, zoom.com. There are many domains that have been registered by cyber criminals that impersonate Zoom. And by the way, avoid that. And not just that, even a lot of them are trying to impersonate your website, which can be used as soft target for your customers. Make sure that you communicate back to your customers as well. So this is not a Zoom problem. This is a problem that all video conferencing companies will face, and all of us will face. And we in CrowdStrike are doing many things to make our services up. And we are happy to really walk you through that as well. If some of your CIOs and CISOs are interested, happy to do that session. Zoom is not end-to-end encrypted. The meetings are encrypted, but it's not end-to-end. What I mean by that, I've got to use the client to really connect. If you're using two clients at both ends, then it's encrypted unless it's recorded. So let's know the details. Ideally, I would say don't click on a browser link to do that. Use the clients. There has been reports about Windows client of the chat feature being vulnerable to some hacks. I mean, you can see there universal naming convention path injection does allow some of the Windows login to be compromised. Well, it's encrypted, but I understand there are some decrypting tools available. So my recommendation, there is a meeting ID that comes to you. Go to the client, input the meeting ID on the client as the meeting start, and use that to get in. It gives you less vulnerable. Zoom has recently issued a few guidelines about how you should conduct meeting, how you can give share rights, using a lobby to allow people in, don't let them change their user names. And I think I would say, I'm sure all of you are doing that. And I know that government of India has come out with a guideline as well. Please leverage that. And it's not about Zoom only. It's about any of the platforms that you use, right? Let's use and try to be safe, because we're using some more of these tools and in future, and we use that more in future as well. So my concluding message is, we all have to first of all keep our family and near ones and employees safe. But in the line of airline guideline, right, you got to put a mask on yourself first to keep your kids' mask, or kids safe. So if you want to keep your employees safe, your family safe, you got to keep yourself safe mentally and physically. And nothing better than our next speaker, who's going to walk us through about some key wellness guides that she wants to share about when we are in this lockdown mode. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Payal to walk us through her session. Over to you, Payal.
Thank you, Jagdish, and good evening, everyone. I would like to say that, Nitin gave an excellent review of, the mindset that we have been and the way we are heading towards. And I would like to start with something, where I think it's week 4 of being in lockdown, right? And the mindset that everybody started off with when this whole quarantine, self-quarantine, lockdown phase began, it was different. We were uncertain, but at the same time, we were also, hoping that, okay, probably there's going to be a respite and maybe it is going to be over in the time frame that was given to us, but it did not, and it got stretched. So when something like that gets stretched, and there's a lot of uncertainty in all of our minds, we're constantly struggling with what next, what next. So I thought that why not present, actionable steps where you can look at this whole pandemic with the mindset of how do we reset, how do we recycle, and how do we reboot? So let me take you through with, first of all, who I am. I'm a health and wellness coach who practices functional medicine principles. And when I say functional medicine principles, traditional medicine is the medicine of what, and functional medicine is a principle that works on the whys, finding out the root causes to what is ailing you, what's making you uncomfortable, what is stopping you from, living the best possible life that you can lead. At the end of the session, I'll leave my coordinates. Whoever has any niggling issues where you've had something troubling you for the longest time, but you don't know who to ask, who to reach out to, please feel free. I'd love to do an introductory health discovery session for anyone who's keen. So yeah, I mean, like I was talking about in terms of feeling anxious. Now, Karen Salmanson is an American author, and she has actually broken this down very beautifully. What is anxiety? Anxiety is something that, pushes you to be in the present and where you don't know what's going on and you want to figure out everything all at once. So the next time when you're feeling overwhelmed by a faraway goal, like when is this lockdown going to end, whether business is going to go back to normal, whether the economy is going to go back to where it was, whether, I'll be able to go for a vacation, whether whether I'll have enough money, the way I had imagined when the year started, any of that. Just take a step back, take a deep breath, and repeat this. I have it within me right now to get me where I want to be later. I'll repeat that for you. I have it within me right now to get me where I want to be later. And sometimes just, taking a deep breath in and exhaling it out just works like a miracle, and it helps you tell your body and your mind that you're safe. You're in your house where you're not being exposed to the virus, you're not being exposed to the uncertainty, and you have your dear ones with you, and that's one of the best places to start with. So now when I'm taking you through this journey of resetting your mindset. Now, pre-pandemic, we had, a completely different, viewpoint towards the world. 2020 looked so exciting, and it was a year for you, and you had like multiple plans. I don't know, whichever fiscal year that you follow, whether you were in your last quarter or you were in your first quarter of the business, you had plans. You had plans for summer vacations. You had plans for, probably some personal goals that you had set for yourself. But then this happened, and no one anticipated that this was going to happen. And when it happened, it took the world by storm. And when you're in this phase of being in the lockdown, um, what is it that you really seek from, say, from the management, or if you're working in an organization, from the senior management team, from your admin, from your HR, or what do your employees or your teams expect from you? Do they expect you to just stop business? Oh, I mean, have you managed to finish this project? Have you managed to get back to me on blah blah blah? Do you feel that there is a lack of empathy when companies and organizations and teams start talking only business to you during this time? I'm sure you're uncomfortable with that idea, because when I talk to my clients, I know that um, each one of them, every one of them, is like, that there's no clear timeline that people want to follow. They're infringing on personal time, and they're like, at 8 o'clock, there's a mail that comes in and they says, okay, we want to do this, and why don't get back to me by tomorrow morning, or scheduling a midnight call. And then you start feeling that, I mean, we need everybody to care for us, but then we're not the ones who are doing it anyways. So why not be the change you wish to see? Why not be that person? And why not take this mindset even post pandemic? So my few, pointers towards this situation when it comes to work and business would be, just be present, stay professional. No one is asking you to drop your professional standards. Stay professional, maintain a structure, which is absolutely important. Don't forget your organization or your company's purpose and what it's seeking and what you need to do. All that is fine. But at the same time, just be more empathetic towards your team. Ask them how they're doing, whether the family is fine, and take this whole bonding and this mindset once you're out of the pandemic, and just don't get back to your usual self, where you were just traveling or, focused on your work and nothing else mattered to you. And I would say that the same thing goes for your home and family. When you were traveling or when you were so busy with your work, probably there were a lot of activities and chores that you could not pitch in for with regards to your family. Or when it came to your friends, you couldn't really live up to a lot of social commitments. And this basic thing that you can do with, when it comes to your home or family, could be the hardest as well. And that is to just talk about the difficult things, talk about the fun things, do an activity together, learn to set your boundaries. If you were the kind of a person who would constantly get bulldozed by family members and their expectations, and you had to really live up to that, then learn to set boundaries. I mean, this is a good time to start with that. And when it comes to friends and social connection, this is an excellent time to be part of a larger community. Everybody needs you. The world needs you. Are you there? Just help, reach out. There are, lovely forums like Caremongers on Facebook, who's really, taking absolutely civilians who have no other background but just want to help So if you have a dear one who's stranded and who needs medication, or just reach out to people. And if you are the person who can help, then be that person. Like I said, be that change, be that person who, expects the world to be kind to them, but you're not expecting anything from anyone. So why not just follow on that and lead through example? I think, once we come out on the other side, this is going to be a game changer, because organizations and people's behavior is going to change with regards to how much empathy they really got from within and from outside. Now, going back to another key aspect of recycling, I know that everybody has limited resources right now. Um, you can't make as many grocery runs, you can't go to the gym, and you can't really, probably do a score of other things that in a, non-pandemic era you had access to. So what do we do? What do we start with? First of all, reflect with what you have. Focus on your resourcefulness. Just, what are the things that you can make do? What are the things that you don't really need? So, I read something very beautiful, that the cost of living is not really high. The cost of lifestyle is high. So if there's anything unnecessary in your lifestyle, curb it, and you'll realize that it's not that hard. And accordingly respond. Take the right actions. What's more important? And in that, we have some key pillars in terms of what you need to do if you need to maintain your immune system, if you need to thrive, if you're scared that, you could be one of those people who immune system is compromised and you could be more privy to catching the virus, then these are some key things that you can do, which is, let's start with hydration. You have access to drinking water. Our lungs are 90% made of water. And one of the symptoms of, on that note, so hydrate yourself, because first of all, one of the key symptoms of the virus is, dry cough. That also means that, difficulty in breathing. The body kind of gets dehydrated. It heats up, and the water from the cells is burnt up. And you need to understand that hydration at a cellular level is what is something that's going to really change the game for you. So what can you do in terms of hydration? um, Drink plenty of lemonade. That's, an alkaline water with not sugar, but maybe a pinch of, sea salt or Himalayan pink salt. Add a dash of lemon and keep drinking that water through the day. It's excellent. It detoxifies the body as well. Drink a lot of buttermilk. Drink a lot of, these herb infusions, fruit infusions. Just drop maybe some mint leaves, some cucumbers. So that way you know that you're having something fun and it's not just, pure boring water, if water doesn't really, suit your palate. And keep reminding yourself, so that every time you run to the loo, remind yourself that you need to drink some more water. And adding the Himalayan pink salt obviously acts like an electrolyte, and that ensures that the water is reaching, at the cell level. Next is nutrition. Nutrition is, this is the time where everybody's at home and you want to probably reach out for that, pack of cookies, and you want to bake a cake, and, probably watching Netflix and eating a bag of chips. But believe me, that's the last thing that you should be doing, because that's what's bringing down your immune system. So focus on eating nutrient dense meals. Include good quality proteins, good quality fats. If don't eat very carbohydrate rich food. If you're eating a carbohydrate heavy meal, I'm sure it's going to affect your focus at work. You're going to start feeling very sluggish. You're going to start feeling lazy, not as much in tune with really getting, work done if you really demarcate your days and create a schedule. So, if you're having a carb meal, then have only one kind of carb. Balance it out with good quality salads, fibers, fats. And when I'm saying fats, use cold pressed oils, use avocados, use nuts, use, ghee, use grass fed butter. That's really going to keep your energy sustained. And keep your focus on your micronutrients as well. When I say micronutrients, these come from, the vitamins and minerals. So if you have a multivitamin with you and you've been taking it, then continue with that. Focus on eating low sugar fruits. And there are plenty of things. I mean, focus on the spices in your house. Focus on the herbs that you have, even if they're dried. Just, there's a lot that you can support your nutrition level with. And it's not that hard, even if you don't have access. I mean, you have beans and you have lentils, soak them, sprout them. They're very good quality. They're not the best quality proteins, but they're still an excellent source of protein. Now, coming back to sleep, sleep is something that obviously is going to change how your body is hydrating, how your body is absorbing the nutrition. Because if you don't get good quality sleep, you are going to, you'll have cravings. You're going to be more dehydrated. The body doesn't get enough time or resources to recuperate, regenerate, renew. So focus on your sleep. Just, do some breathing exercises, step out in the sun, do some, going back to the next point of exercise, do some light exercises. If you're not an exercise person, then just, do something simple. I mean, if you're helping out your family with the chores in the house, that's movement. Break your work cycles into a 90-minute slot and then take a 20-minute break where you're just moving around the house, probably doing something, help your family. If you have staircases, just go up and down. Go to the farthest bathroom that you have in your house. Or probably if you're charging your phone or you don't want to, access your phone, keep it at the farthest end so that every time you have to get up. Don't keep a glass of water next to you. Everything that will push you to get up and move. So focus on all of that. And these resources are all there with you. You don't have to step out anywhere or do anything, unnatural or extraordinary. Now, coming to the final point of, renewing and who do we want to be in the post-pandemic era? We want to be a healthy deviant. Who is a healthy deviant? A healthy deviant is somebody who has amplified awareness, which is, you're gathering so much of information during this phase. You're on the internet, you're reading books, you're talking to people, you're reading articles, and you're listening to people, you're watching interviews. There's so many things that you're absorbing, and hence you have a gamut of information with you to make those healthy choices or to make those unhealthy choices as well. Then once you make that choice, are you, in a position to stay ahead of the damage? Are you using that information in a way where you will stay ahead of the curve rather than falling behind? And what kind of mindset? Do you have a beginner's mindset, or you are someone who is highly opinionated and who knows everything, and this is how it is, and this is how business happens, and this is how health is? Do you want to be that person? I mean, that's a call you need to take. So while we're talking about, the reset, recycle, renew, how do we really protect ourselves against disease? We start with some of the basics, which is minimize exposure. If you don't have to go out, please don't go out. Minimize, that exposure. Wash your hands. Keep your immune system alert and alive. Balance your body pillars. When I say body pillars, they are the 4 body pillars that we discussed in the previous slides. Your sleep, your nutrition, your hydration, your movement, your exercise. Create a healthy microbiome. Now, what's a healthy microbiome? A microbiome is an environment where all your microorganisms exist. So, for example, if we're talking about your gut microbiome, that means all the the bacteria, the viruses, the fungi that really exist in your, gut, and which are a big part of your immune system. So try and keep that healthy. If you follow those 4 pillars, then you're anyways doing a good job at that. Avoid things that raise blood sugar. Now, what are the things that raise blood sugar? Refined carbs, refined flours, processed food, anything which has a label on it. If there is a label on it, it is, going to raise your blood sugar. Yes, fruits, high sugar fruits also do that, but they still have some amount of vitamins and minerals in them. So they're not, as bad as processed food or something that comes in a packet. Manage stress and support your adrenals. Now everybody knows, or rather, it's common knowledge that you need to do your pranayams and breathing and meditation, but we kind of don't take it so seriously. But if you've never tried it, this is an excellent time. It's something so basic. I mean, if what is meditation? Meditation is I am, or and you chant Om. That's it. That's what meditation is. If meditation is, the moment of being here and trying to think of the next moment, the vacuum that exists between those two moments, that's meditation. So it's not something complicated, and you can manage your stress through that. There are multiple other modalities you can do to support your adrenals, optimize your metabolism, support efficient detoxification. If you follow the previous points, it's absolutely easy to stay on point with your metabolism and your detoxification. And what is detoxification? It is, poop, pee, and perspire. Keep that on point, and everything is going to be absolutely, spick and span. And like I said, so we have a world of healthy choices, and you have your priorities, but what's more important is where you'll be. And where you will be post pandemic is a choice that you can make today at this point. So now that, I've taken you through my journey and what I wanted to say, I'd like to invite Abhijit Singh, who is a strength and conditioning, coach, and who will give you some beautiful tips on how you can maintain your fitness levels during these times. Thank you, and over to Abhijit.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Myself, Abhijit Singh. I'm a strength and conditioning coach. Since 2008, I'm helping people to achieve their fitness goals. I train cricketers, celebrities, athletes, and successfully handle some special medical cases like depression, trauma, and physical challenge cases also. I provide customized corporate training also. I'm currently managing Anytime Fitness Village West, Mumbai from 2016. I'm conducting a fitness workshop for instructors, and I'm taking online personal training also for my clients based on USA, Singapore, and Bombay as well. So now today we are talking about fitness. As of all, you know that mental and physical fitness is interconnected. If you can control your emotion, you can manage a balanced professional and personal life, and then you can focus on your physical fitness. Actually, it's a cycle. All of you are at a senior manager level. You are responsible not for only for yourself and your family, but also for your team. It is important for you to be mentally focused and physically fit. So when the life comes back to its crazy routine, you are ready to face it better than ever before. Considering all of this, I will suggest you some easy but very effective exercise for all of you to be more fit and focused, to face new challenges thrown at you. So now I'll demonstrate some exercises. Okay, so now I'm going to highlight some common physical pain. Those who have a sedentary lifestyle and those who have doing heavy weight training or excessive workout. Some common problem in both conditions. One is cervical, second is lower back, third is knee, and fourth is stiff body. So I'm going to start those fascia massage, releasing exercise first. So you need one physio ball, it's a hard ball, or if you have a tennis ball, that's also working. Okay. So now we'll do first. We're going to release overall cervical region. You have to put the ball here in the back and push the ball body weight against the wall and just move it up and down little bit. It's a gentle massage here. Okay, and you can do side to side also. Entire your shoulder, upper back region, the neck region also. Okay, for this, with this you can mobilize your entire cervical portion, trap muscles also, and upper back also. Next is lower back. Here is a two bone. You just point it out this and put it up there. Same way against the wall, knee soft. Just push the gentle weight, pressure, and then move it up and down. Also, just side to side also. With this, you can move your entire lower back stiffness and fascia releasing also. With this fascia releasing massage. Okay. So upper back and lower back covered with the wall. And now I am going to perform some exercise massage for hamstring and quadriceps on the floor. So two exercises standing with the ball massage, and the one is this here. Put the ball on your quads, press it with the other hand, and roll it. Just a rolling massage with the ball. Entire your quadriceps. Up and down also, and the roll also. Both you can. With this, you can release your quadriceps stiffness, complete stiffness. Okay. And the fourth one is hamstring. Again, the same with the same ball. Ball put it right here. Other leg here. Lift your body. All weight put on the ball. Just legs up also, and then roll it again on a hamstring. So with this, you can release your hamstring stiffness. For 10-20 counts for a roll, you try to do this entire hamstring also, and the calf. All here. The same way, up, load it, gentle weight, and then roll. So with this ball, first we did cervical fascia massage, lower back fascia massage, quadricep fascia massage, hamstring fascia massage, calf fascia massage. Now on the feet. This. So like this, just press it and roll it. Entire your feet. This way, you can release the stiffness in facial region. Okay. Next. Okay. And now we do rotator cuff mobilization. So stand like this against the wall, knees soft, both hands here, 90 degree, your shoulder level. Breathe out, extend your hands this way. Your palm toward you, toward the wall, this way. Breathe out, slowly. 20 counts. This is rotator cuff, external rotation, shoulder level. And one more. Same thing on the waist level. First, you try to both hand together out. If is it not possible, then you can do single hand only. Okay? One time this side and one time that side. After this two exercise, both is rotator cuff mobilization. Do overhead extension against the wall, exactly this position. And rest. Breathing relax. Breathe out. Raise your hand overhead. Straight. Straight. Okay. 10 to 20 counts and down. With this, your entire upper back, shoulder, and cervical region is completely relaxed. With this, slowly you out of pain zone. Okay. Now on the floor. After doing rotator cuff, we need one tube or almost 6 feet stick also. You can choose any. You can hold it. Elbow. Breathe out. Hands going back side. Rotate and breathe in. Come back front. And both time elbow should be straight. Okay. This way. Normal breathing. You repeat that times 20 times. After this rotation, you have to lie down on the stomach. Stay. Go head down. Release your hand and do overhead press. Stay. After overhead press, you can do side movement like this. Raise your hand and then sideways move. The body line and again overhead. Breathing normal. These two exercises for strengthening your entire cervical and upper back also. Some trapezius muscles also for that and the shoulder also. Now the quadriceps stretching. Okay. You have to come down on your knees. One leg forward like that. Both hands down one side. And then down your legs, just more push forward and hands here. Hold it here. Minimum 30 seconds. You count it 30 seconds and then off. Same way, other side. 1 feet forward, both hands, sideways, 2 feet, and butt down. Chest up. This way, hold your quadriceps and hip joint. This one and the hip joint. Both are stretched. So, those who have a stiff quadriceps, it will help. Now, next, hand straight. So, first, you have to stand like that. One leg forward, one leg back. Front leg on heel, back leg on feet. Effortless down forward. Stay and then take effort, maximum. Breathe out and down. Maximum, maximum, maximum. Hold it here for 30 seconds. Both knees should be straight. Okay. And try to go down maximum. 30 seconds, minimum 1 to 2 sets. One more quadriceps stretching. Take the support of the wall. Exit like that. Pull it and then knee behind. Hold it. Again for quadriceps stretch. Okay. Do this 30 seconds. And for feet, do calf stretch. This one and the PT stretch. Feet hold it position like that. Then straight your back leg, hold it this way. You feel complete stretch here and on feet also, and hold it here for 30 seconds. Okay. Okay. After stretching your quads, hamstring, calf, and feet, now we come back to upper body. Your chin tuck, the cervical exercise also. Now it's a strengthening exercise. So put the one finger on your chin, breathe out, chin, pull back, and hold it here. 10 seconds and then release. And again, 10 seconds hold and release. 5 to 10 times. This exercise. Second exercise, one palm position here and push opposite direction. Okay? This way, this. Hands push this side and neck pulls that side. And hold it here. Again, 5 to 10 seconds and release it. And again, same. Release it. Both sides. This side also, push it and release it. Push, hold 5 to 10 seconds and release. The third one, lock your finger like that in the back side behind your neck. Okay, same opposite direction pushing this way. Okay, and push behind and push forward and release it. 5 to 10 seconds. Then again, hold it and release it. These exercises for your entire cervical strengthening. Those who have a common pain, it will help. But those who have a severe pain, they have to consult the specialist, the physical specialist. Okay, of course you can do that. And now lower back, and now lower back pain. Okay, so lie down like that. Hands straight between the legs, shoulder level distance. Hands straight down. Upper body relax, lower body relax. Breathe out, lift your butt this way. And simultaneously squeeze your torso, squeeze your hamstring and glutes also. Hold it here 5 seconds and then down. But don't hold your breathe, only hold your body. Lift up again. Hold it 5 seconds. This is called bridge or strengthening your lower back. Next, on your 4 points, both knee and both arm, opposite hands and leg raise and then hold it like that. Breathe out, just straight body line and then hold it 5 seconds and release it. Alternate, then again, hold it this way, 5 seconds and release. Both exercise for strengthening your lower back. So one small on your stomach, lie down and do Superman. This way, hands here, breathe out, lift your chest and lower back also, legs also, and hold it here. 5 seconds. Breathing normal, don't hold your breath. Always hold the posture only, no breathing. Okay, this also 5 to 10 sets. After that, you do child pose for relaxing your lower back. Okay, and upper back also. This way, stretch and down. Hold it here 10 seconds. And up. Once more. Hold it 10 seconds. And up. Now I'm going to perform exercise for your knee. Meaning cushion or towel, whatever. Just put it down below the knee and push that this way. And hold it here 5 seconds and release. Again, push it down, hold it 5 seconds and release. Hold, towel push, yeah, cushion push, whatever, to strengthening your entire region of knee region. Okay. One more exercise for this. This is called static contraction. Just pull your knees this way, hold 5 seconds and release. Again, 5 seconds hold and release 5 to 10 times. If you have a normal lifestyle pain, then you can do this. If you have a seriously some major pain, injury problem, then you have to consult with the expert. Otherwise, you can do this. Okay. Yeah.
Vinod, we can start with the questions, so you can take the question.
Yeah, please. If anyone have any question, please ask me. If you have any confusion, anything.
So Abhijit, one of the questions that came in was the ball that you used. Can any type of ball be used, or is that a specific medical ball?
Okay. So there is a physio ball. It's a hard ball. Anyone can buy it online also. If you don't find there, then you can use the normal tennis ball also, or hard plastic ball also. You can use for facial massage. It's easily available in a sports shop.
Sure. So Jack, for you, there was a question. Is this solution only on the endpoints, or can the customers also look for the servers and other endpoints?
Okay, so it's so many things behind the knee pain. Sometimes,
Sorry,
it's a sorry.
the question was for me. So Vinod, you're right. Basically, for everyone here, we look at when we look at endpoints, we redefine. We do that for all the workloads. So when I say workloads, it is servers, desktops, laptops, any obviously Windows, Linux. We look at workload on AWS or any of your cloud providers, or a container. So pretty much cover across the spectrum, including even mobile platforms like iOS and Android.
Sure. So there is one more question which has come there in terms of when working from home, people tend to lie on the bed and keep the laptop on these things. So there are people who have pain in the knee because of the bad posture. So what does one do for that? Especially when you tend to lie down and work with the laptop on your knees.
Sorry, I have some hearing disturbance here.
There was a question which says that because of the work from home, people either sit in chair or they keep their legs on the bed, or they lie down on the bed and then keep the laptop on their lap, due to which there is pain on the knee and the posture itself is wrong. So
okay, sometimes actually it's a sitting posture problem. Most of the time people feel numbness in entire leg, because sometimes they sit the cross leg on the bed also, and once you sit on a stretch your leg, just move against it. If you have a knee pain, different take some depend on the weak muscles, or they have some problems. Two things was also, and one is the lack of attention, lack of
I think Abhijit connection has a problem. So if you have any questions for Payal or Jagdish, we should take that and we can answer Abhijit's question by mail.
So the question for Payal was, you spoke about the beginner's mindset. So person wanted you to elaborate on how does mindset impact all this?
So basically, when I say beginner's mindset, for example, okay, let's take the example of COVID-19. Now, there are a lot of people, with who are not scientists, who are not doctors, who are not virologists, and yet they have a very strong opinion on how the virus behaves, whether social distancing is needed, not needed, whether the lockdown period is required, needs to be extended, shouldn't have gotten extended. Now, when someone is in a beginner's mindset, the person will research, read up, follow the right people who have the right kind of information, rather than just reading snippets from here and there and taking that point of view as the final point of view. That's with regards to the pandemic. Now when it comes to, for example, thinking about say health and wellness, how does a beginner's mind really work? Beginner's mind works where earlier everybody told you that fat is bad. If you eat oil and if you eat ghee, then you're going to get sick, you're going to get cardiovascular diseases, you're going to get a plethora of other issues. Now after that, obviously it was the sugar, then now it's carbohydrates. So the data on all these aspects of nutrition and science is constantly evolving. And if you have a very fixed mindset, the way a lot of people, for example, where who follow keto diet, or who don't follow keto diet, or who are vegans, who are vegetarians, they're all very staunch followers of what they're doing is just the right way, and that is how people should follow. A beginner's mind is being open to all possibilities, that yes, I exist and what I'm doing works for me, but I also appreciate that we are all bio individuals and everybody's system is different. And maybe what works for you is truly unique to you. So keeping an open mindset with regards to whether it is your, health, physical health, whether it is your mental health, the same way would go in a business scenario. If, if there are some business processes or a particular way of doing work, which say, a different part of your team, if you're used to doing business in a certain way in the Indian context, but if there is someone within the subcontinent who is doing excellent work and you can get inspired by that work, I mean, yes, I mean, why not? Just be open to newer ideas. And when you take it to a micro level, what I mean by beginner's mindset is, if you have people usually with liver issues, with specific health conditions, have very strong mindset. So, and if you go and look into Ayurveda, if you go and look into traditional Chinese medicine, the root cause of usually these kind of fixed mindsets has a core relation to an organ not being at its optimum health. So there are a lot of factors to being in this beginner's mind, and the more toxin free your body is, the easier you are to talk to, the easier you assimilate information, the easier you assimilate food in your system. So it's very holistic in that sense. I hope I'm able to answer in the context that you asked me the question.
Thanks, Payal. So Rohit, we need to get back to Manjunath. He had a question on, is there any specific time recommended for these exercises, or can it be done anytime? So maybe you can get Abhijit to respond to.
Yes, so I think Abhijit has dropped out, so I'll let him know the question and we'll revert back on you.
Rohit, I can probably, answer on his behalf. So ideally, these kind of strength and mobility exercises don't have a specific time. It works anytime that you want to, do it, whether it's in the morning hours, whether it's in the afternoon, evening, or just before bedtime. Because any of these exercises are primarily, relaxing, easing out tension out of your muscles, out of your fascia, and it'll just help you sleep better if you're doing closer to bedtime. If you're doing it during the day, it'll help you function better. The moment you're constantly sitting on your desk, or I believe there was another question where the person was had knee pain. Now when you're constantly sitting for a longer period of time, what happens is that your IT band, your IT muscles, your quadriceps and your hamstrings, they start tightening up, they start stiffening up, and you can develop a flat feet because of that. So the moment you start doing some of these strength, mobility, flexibility exercises, you'll find that sitting at your desk, working with your laptop, or even for that matter, whoever is helping out in cooking or any of the other household chores or your daily activities, you'll start realizing that your the strength and the flexibility of your limbs and your body is a lot better. So there is no best time or a good time to do it. Any time is a good time.
Sure, thanks. I think those were the questions we had anyway. The email ID is there. You can drop in a mail to Rohit if any more questions are required. So, Rohit, over to you.
So, Nitin, I think you should close.
Yeah. Thanks to all the speakers here, right, for such an insightful sessions. Before we close, and I hope people who are still here, it was worth spending 1 hour with us. And before we close, I would like to invite Sendil to say a few words in here. Sendil?
Yeah, it was really a great session. So first of all, do you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Sendil.
Yeah, sure. So the agenda was fantastic. So which is need of this hour? What I can tell is that one is on the security. We are all working from home. What are the security, basic security, at least we should have. All those things has been covered. And it was a very crisp and clear presentation from Jagdish. Thanks a lot. And Nitin, you gave a good welcome by giving us a lot of rediscover, then reanalyze, reboot, all those things was really good. Even it's quite simple. It is a practically now we are all facing. Then our Jagdish, who gave a good presentation by telling us from work from home what are the things which we need to take care, how we should control on the security side, and especially on the Zoom. Yesterday it was a very big news about Zoom, what we can do or alternative to Zoom. Still, you gave a very clear precautions and what we have to do to continue if we want to use Zoom. It was really a nice session from you, Jagdish, and followed by Payal. So it was very good where Payal, very simply she articulated like what from a breathing side, how we should do when we are tensed, how we have to manage, and during this pandemic, how we should be relieved by thinking, and also what type of food we should have, like how simple food we should have. All those things, even though it's a very simple, it is a need of this hour, which we may be neglect or we may not be doing that. Now, based on this, we can also try this, and we should share this to our friends, our CEO Club friends, and also our family to make use of this. And finally, Abhijit, I think is not there, but he gave a very good, simple exercise where everyone can do. With a small ball, he could show us how easily we can manage when we are having some body pain or when we get some pain in a particular part, all those things and all. He could explain in a simple way. It was very good. So totally all four you made an hour with very interesting and very useful. Thanks, Rohit, for arranging this brilliant session. And thanks, CEO Club friends, for joining. And I could see that at one stretch there were around 70 were there. So really thanks for that. And like this, we will try to have more sessions in coming future. Thanks a lot. Over to Rohit. Or Nitin, please take it forward.
Thank you all for joining, and we'll end the session and stay safe and stay secure. Thank you.